someone prior, if that's what you're seeing in your house as a young child. Um, Even if you know that it's not okay, it kind of okays it in your mind, like, oh, if they're doing it, then it's fine for me to do. Also, for an underdeveloped mind, not knowing right from wrong when it comes to relationships or what's okay, um, what's easily tolerated and what's not okay. Like the line's very blurry when you maybe have parents that don't communicate well, are exhibiting unhealthy behavior, are physically abusive, abusing substances, um, not treating each other respectfully. A lot of things can add to that. So that's where, normalizing those behaviors, like people being narcissistic or manipulative or emotionally violating you, taking advantage of you, gaslighting you. If you've experienced that with your parents or watched that happen with your parents, it tends to kind of be a snowball effect into your relationships as well. Some survivors may find themselves attracted to partners who exhibit traits that are similar to their abusive caregivers or past relationships. So that's kind of when we spoke about like mommy issues, daddy issues, parents, or also just a pattern within your relationships. If you always are drawn yourself to, people that need help or people that lack communication or, um, those types of things, it might become a pattern within your relationships. And um, sometimes it's hard to break if you're always drawn to those types of people. Through therapy, self-awareness, and establishing healthy boundaries, individuals can start breaking the cycle, but this takes time. I kind of just wanted to touch on that and state that because I think a lot of people tend to think it's really easy to leave a situation like that, whether it's a physically abusive situation or mentally or verbally, financially, you know what I mean? As long as you have a really good support system and you know, not right from wrong, but you know what you deserve, I think it can lead into a healthier pathway. But you have to it's hard to know that because if you were taught from such a young age, or not intentionally taught, but that's what you witnessed at such a young age through that trauma, then it can be taken out on other people and maybe hard to break the cycle. So another little bulleted list. I really like my bulleted list. Common behaviors that are displayed. So things that you could normally, I apologize. Some things that you can kind of see would be like violent outbreaks within the relationship, emotional manipulation, which is kind of when we touched on, narcissism, gaslighting people, things like that. Poor communication skills, whether that's that jealousy or the overthinking, not knowing how to communicate your feelings efficiently, can definitely draw a line in a healthy relationship. Raising your voices, that comes to kind of like that physical. A big thing could be, substance abuse tends to heighten people's emotions. It turns into a fight, leads to other things. If your children are witnessing that, then that's kind of okaying that substance use. It's okaying that behavior towards somebody that you love. They're saying, okay, like this, he loves her or she loves him, and they're treating each other like that. That must be okay. That must be tolerated when it's not. Like we touched on, pathways to other drugs and alcohol, and narcissism. So this was kind of like a more fun fact slide. I had a few fun facts that I came across which were really interesting to me. A big one, studies suggest that 95% of perpetrators who physically abuse their intimate partners also psychologically abuse them. So I think a big part of that I wanted to touch on was that gaslighting effect. And what I mean by that is like really emotionally manipulating somebody. It tends to get to a point with a lot of people where they're so emotionally tired. And normally with narcissists, when they're emotionally tired of somebody not understanding where they're coming from because it's, false, it tends to lead to a place of really deep anger. And a lot of people that haven't been taught from a young age how to control their emotions tend to break out violently. Main effects from being involved in an unhealthy relationship as an adult includes a lot of things like increased stress and anxiety, constant conflict or negativity that eventually can lead to heightened stress levels, And then a big one that I want to touch on was its effects on people's self-esteem. If you're in a relationship and it's really isolated and toxic, a lot of times that other person will kind of isolate you from your support system, or isolate people that are telling you something opposite that they're telling you, in a form of manipulation or narcissism. And being isolated from people that are being supportive of you and care about you, tends to lead to like a drop of self-confidence, feeling alone, having no one to turn to. A lot of times that leads to depression and anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and it puts you, the person that's experiencing that other person, or if you are the person that is doing that, then you feel really alone, and it makes it harder to make a change in your life, whether that's a change for yourself to try and make healthier choices in a relationship and treat people kindly, or if you're that person that's experiencing someone who's having difficulty, um, being a healthy example in the relationship, or being that person that's bringing the toxicity to the relationship. If you're the one experiencing that too, being isolated is going to kind of make you feel separated even more, and it could make you okay the behavior to the point where it gets really out of hand, and it's harder to leave and again break the cycle. Become aware. This a few more fun facts I like to add, but a boy who sees his mother being abused is 10 times more likely to abuse female partners as an adult. When I was reading about this, if a child is seeing how their parent, like we touched on earlier, seeing how their parent is being treated, or doing the treating the other person in the relationship, it's kind of like a sense of okay for someone who doesn't know right from wrong yet, and they're still experiencing new relationships in their life. Your parents are that first relationship that you experience, so you're going to look at that and really care how it goes, and pay attention to little details that you wouldn't think that kids pay attention to, and those things stick with them. And how the mind develops, like if that's learned from a young age, it will come out in the future, whether that's through manipulation, through on the other side, trust issues, not knowing how to trust somebody, or like this, physically abusing another person because you saw your parents do it and you felt like it was okay. And then from the other end, a girl who grows up in a home where her father abuses her mother is more than 6 times as likely to be sexually abused as a girl who grows up in a non-abusive home. I think this fun fact was really interesting to me because how I thought about it was, it kind of that girl that they're talking about, or broad picture, is okay, not okay in that situation, but is finding themselves in those situations because they're used to seeing that, and it's not a sense of her okaying it in that situation, but when you find yourself in a situation and you're drawn to people in that aspect because of what it's seen, it tends to become a snowball effect. And then this was just a kind of broader fun fact. More than 15 million children in the United States live in homes in which domestic violence has happened at least once, which is really crazy from personal experience as well. And I think a big part of that's just finding a support system, and knowing how common it is. So things that you can experience, how people who experience these types of toxic relationships can break this cycle. At first, recognizing that there's an issue within the relationship, or recognizing that your friend is having an issue in her relationship, or your mom, or your, establishing boundaries within the relationship. If you are the person doing, experiencing this other person that's having negative effects on the relationship, trying to draw the line early and trying to get them help, or remove yourself from that relationship. It's easier said than done, but trying to know right from wrong. And again, looping back to the childhood trauma part, if that's what you witness, then it's going to be hard to notice that. So having a support system that can say like, hey, this isn't okay what you're going through, this, he shouldn't be treating you like this, or she shouldn't be physically abusing you, or whatever it is. Sometimes it needs to be said from an outside source, to kind of make it make sense in your mind, if that's something that you grew up seeing a lot. Like, yeah, seeking support, becoming self-aware of the situation. And then if you're around someone who cannot help themselves, so you're that other person in the relationship, or again, your friend or your family member, whoever it is, try and remove yourself. Again, it's easier said than done. Seek support and understand that you want to protect yourself. Thank you.